The great bike heist of 2025. You'd think with the millions of euros spent on logistics, media coverage, and marginal gains tech, someone might have thought of locking the door. Enter Team Cofidis, a humble French World Tour team with dreams of stage wins and apparently no dreams of proper security. On the night of mere hours before stage 2 of the tour, their mechanic's truck was broken into in Bordeaux, near Lille, and 11 of their team bikes were stolen. Not just your average commuter bikes, mind you. These were Look 795 Blade RS race machines, each fitted with high-end Cambagnola components and valued at around 10 to 13,000 euros a pop. In total, the thieves made off with roughly 143,000. Yeah, that's insane. Now the first question most of us have is, how does this happen at the Tour de France? It's like robbing a Ferrari during an F1 weekend. According to Cycling News, team manager Cedric Vasseur confirmed that this was not just some local teen with bolt cutters. Quote, "It was certainly an organised gang," he said. "They knew what they were doing." Translation: they didn't trip over a bike rack and accidentally steal 11 custom carbon frames. The theft occurred overnight, despite the fact the truck was parked directly outside the team's hotel. The culprits forced the door open and poof, a rolling showroom of elite bikes was gone. The incident caused a flurry of panic, with mechanics scrambling and Look's CEO reportedly reopening the factory in Nevers to rush replacements. Campagnola overnighted fresh wheels. Mechanics rebuilt bikes at lightning speed. It was like a Tour de France time trial, except the riders were now the team staff. And here's the twist. 5 of the bikes were eventually found dumped in a bush. Not by the police, but by some lucky passerby, or perhaps a very honest fan. All 11 were recovered by the next day, but Cofidis still lost valuable time and preparation. Cedric Vasseur also hinted that this wasn't the first time. Teams, especially the less resourced ones, are increasingly vulnerable to theft. One might ask, why isn't there around-the-clock security at every team truck? Good question. That leads us on to our next point. Security 101. How a star cyclist like Pogačar stays safe. Now let's talk about Tadej Pogačar, the Tour de France winner, global superstar, and the owner of a smile so disarmingly charming it could be considered a biological weapon. Pogačar is, without a doubt, one of the most famous athletes in the world of cycling, and with that level of fame comes a need for security that goes beyond just locking your front door. So, what kind of security measures does someone like Tadej and his team normally have? 1. The bubble of the team hotel. The UAE team Emirates entourage is no joke. When the squad rolls into any hotel, they usually book an entire floor, sometimes the whole hotel if the tour organisers allow it. Access is strictly controlled. No random fans, no lost tourists wandering in front of the buffet looking for croissants. Only riders, staff, and people to do with the media with press passes. Number 2. Equipment lockdown. The team truck is essentially Fort Knox on wheels. Under normal conditions, that is. Bikes are stored in locked compartments. Wheels and spare parts are tracked with internal inventory systems. Mechanics often sleep near or even inside the truck. Yes, really. Some teams go as far as installing motion detectors, CCTV, and alarms on their vehicles. Number 3. Rider protection. No, Pogačar doesn't have a personal bodyguard per se like Beyoncé, yet, but the tour does provide patrols, especially in more congested areas. And when you're someone of his profile, winning stages, wearing yellow, you're almost always surrounded by team personnel, press officers, security, and a bunch of people trying to get your signature. If you try to approach Tadej, you'll likely have to go through at least 3 levels of Slovenian charm and Emirati logistics coordinators. 4. Digital security. Now this may sound silly, but in the age of Strava stalkers and Instagram oversharing, digital security matters. Teams are now being trained to limit location sharing posts until after they leave the area. Why? Because if you tag your hotel at 9 PM, someone could very well be loosening your crankset at 10 PM. Number 5. Coordination with ASO. The Armory Sports Organisation, which runs the tour, works with local police and national security services to ensure the race route, especially high-profile stages and start-finish zones, are safe. There are undercover agents among the crowds, drone surveillance in major towns, and event marshals stationed every few hundred meters. It's not perfect, but it's better than it used to be years ago. But it didn't need to be like this years ago. It wasn't as dangerous. But is it enough nowadays? Why Pogačar needs more security in 2025? Now we arrive at the crisis. Why does Tadej Pogačar need extra security for this year's Tour de France? Well, aside from being a human prize worth more than most small yachts, there are a few glaring problems with the current security setup at the Tour de France. Let's start with the obvious. Number 1. France's crime situation is not great. In recent years, France has seen a rise in property crime, including thefts, vandalism, and petty assaults. In 2023, the French Ministry of the Interior reported a significant uptick in bike thefts, especially in urban and tourist-heavy regions. And what events attract millions of tourists, disrupt cities, and packs towns with rich sponsors and high-tech gear? That's right, the Tour de France. Police resources are stretched thin across hundreds of kilometers every day. Local departments often have to cover multiple towns per stage, and many of these towns don't have the manpower to monitor 200 steam staff, 176 riders, and 10,000 over-enthusiastic spectators holding inflatable bananas. Number 2. The fan factor. Most Tour fans are great. Passionate, loud, sometimes weirdly obsessed with cowbells, but as we've seen in the past, from the infamous Opi Omi sign crash in 2021 to spectators running alongside riders with lit flares, it doesn't take much to cause mayhem. All it takes is one overexcited fan trying to get a selfie with Pogačar during a warm-up ride, and boom, security breach. And let's not forget, Pogačar has been showing off a new Richard Mille watch on Instagram, a custom model reportedly valued at over €300,000. That's more than the prize money for winning the entire tour. You think no one noticed? Number 3. Equipment is basically gold on wheels. A single race bike today is worth between $15,000 to even $25,000 for some of the time trialers. And that's before you slap on the race day carbon wheels or limited edition paint jobs. These things are literal luxury items. The theft from Cofidis proves that not even teams staying near Paris are immune to targeted heists. Now imagine what someone could fetch on the black market for Pogačar's personal race machine, especially one with telemetry, power meter calibration, and sponsor-specific hardware. If things go wrong, scenarios and team response. Alright, so what happens if things really go sideways? Let's indulge in a few hypotheticals, some dramatic, some realistic, all entirely plausible in today's chaotic world of elite sports. Scenario A, the bike gets stolen before a stage. Let's say Tadej's bike gets stolen during breakfast. Maybe a rogue mechanic left the truck door open, or a determined thief mimicked team gear and slipped through security. The team response would most likely be the mechanics immediately deploy spare bikes, which are calibrated and prepared the night before. The UCI's bike ID system, each bike has a unique number by the way, gets flagged across national customs and police databases. Local police investigate surveillance footage, while team logistics coordinate to replace anything missing. social media managers go into crisis mode with a tweet. Don't worry, Poggy's still rolling, but hey, lock your bikes. Scenario B. Pogačar is harassed by a fan. This could be at the team bus, the Cyan podium, or even on the road. A fan breaks through barriers, grabs his shoulder, or worse. The team response would probably be a security detail, already briefed. They intervene immediately. French police are called, ASO deploys crisis teams, barriers are reinforced at future stages. Tadej shrugs it off in a post-race interview and makes a dad joke in Slovene. Twitter goes wild. Scenario C. The watch theft. Pogačar posts a pre-race pic of himself rocking that custom Richard Mille, tagging a 5-star hotel. That night, someone tries to sneak into his room or tail him during transfer. The team response would probably be, personal items are kept in a separate security locked vehicle during stages. Riders are briefed about Instagram discretion. The watch may even be insured and swapped out with a fake for public events. Yes, some riders wear decoys. Scenario D. Cybersecurity breach. Hackers access training data, race day plans, or even GPS coordinates from the team's internal systems. The team response would be, UAE would likely have cybersecurity consultants monitoring data flow. Riders' power files and GPS are stored on encrypted servers. Communication shifts to encrypted devices for race plans. So, final thoughts. At the end of the day, the Tour de France is still just a bike race, one with helicopters, paparazzi, champagne, €300,000 watches, and now apparently professional bike thieves running recon at hotels. If we've learned anything from Confidus, stolen bikes, rising crime in France, and Pogačar's rising stardom, it's this. Security isn't just a luxury anymore, it's a necessity. Tadej Pogačar is one of the most recognizable figures in global cycling, with his popularity only growing, and with fans, thieves, and who knows who else lurking around every corner of the Tour. Extra security is no longer a what if, it's a must-have. Let's just hope the only thing stolen in July is our hearts when he drops the hammer on the Col de la Loze. Thanks for watching today's video. Please subscribe to my channel if you're new for the latest cycling news, drama and results. Leave a like on today's video for good luck, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.